join me as I'm going to go through a little rundown of some movies that I watched during the month of April. Now, I was thinking about doing videos on these movies, but I didn't do any videos on them, so I'm just going to compile them all in a little bit of a list here, because trying to find you guys some hidden gems. I do watch a lot of oddball shit, but also on top of that, I do make the time to watch things that I may have missed that are still considered to be really good movies. I don't recommend them because they are so well known. But kicking things off, right off the bat, the first movie I watched was Speak No Evil. This was something I was not sure if I was going to like it or not. I know it's kind of a slower burn, and I do kind of struggle with those movies a little bit because I like a lot of action, blood, kills, things of that nature. And I will say this movie is a one-time watch type of movie. It was a very good movie, and it does do its way of setting things up along the way. But the decision-making that happens in this movie from the main lead parents is very, very frustrating and stupid. To where if you have kids and you're in this situation, there is no way in hell that you would keep making the decisions that you made. I did watch this on Shudder, so if you want to check it out, you can see it there. I did see that they did release the trailer for the Americanized version of it, and I'll say if you have not seen Speak No Evil, and you don't want anything ruined, then please avoid the American trailer because it fucking ruins the entire movie. And I don't understand why it gives away every single major point. Because if you're trying to bring in people who didn't bother to watch the foreign film, even though you don't have to really read subtitles, so there's no reason not to watch it, it gives too much away. And I mean, I like who they have acting in it, and I'll probably still check it out to see what kind of direction they may swerve it in separately. But it just made no sense when I was watching it. When the trailer got done, I was like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, you just gave away every major little shock value thing that happened in the first movie. So maybe you're going to go in a different direction, but I don't know. That first movie, it's so bleak and dark that, like, I like it the way it is. And like I said, it's not something I'm going to revisit anytime soon, but it was a good watch. All right. So when I was on that kick, I decided, well, what's wrong with another foreign film? And I decided to watch When Evil Lurks. And I did not watch this movie last year, and I kind of kicked myself in the ass now, because I wish I had watched it last year, because looking through what came out last year, this was probably the best film out of the entire year, and I just missed it. I skipped it on my radar. It is a foreign film where you have to read the subtitles, which isn't a problem for some people. I know for others it is, but if it is an issue, I would still take the time to watch it. This movie is just fantastic. The acting in it's very good. The way it's shot is good. All the practical effects are just fantastic. And the places that this movie goes for being an Exorcist type movie is where no other Exorcist movie goes before. So it is something that's very original, very fresh. And I was just kind of so enthralled with it. I ended up watching it twice because I enjoyed it so much. I was like, yeah, I need to rewatch this again right away, because there's probably things that I missed along the way that I wanted to see what I could pick up on the second viewing. And it was still an awesome movie, and just some of the scenes in the movie are just fantastic. If you've seen it, you know what the scenes are. If you have not, it's on Shudder as well, so turn off this video and go watch Where Evil Lurks. It is probably the best movie that has came out that deals with exorcism type stuff in a very long time. And if you hate the religious part of exorcism, guess what? There is no religion. There is no God. So it's a whole different approach. Because I watched that movie, I then watched the first movie this director did. And that movie was different. It was decent. It was okay. It had some shock kind of factors to it. It's called Terrified, and it's got like a weird looking guy's face on it, and it's kind of like a bluish red tones. I always seen it, and it had high ratings according to Shudder, So I finally took the time to actually sit down and watch it. It was a good movie. It definitely takes hauntings and kind of like the haunted house or paranormal activity, like that style of movie, in its own complete direction. So the next time this director makes anything coming up, I'm going to sit down and watch it immediately because I like his style and he seems to always have very good actors. And everything he does for the most part is practical. I mean, obviously, when you're dealing with paranormal, you're going to have some other stuff in there, but it all looks really, really well. And the stories are, they're always like a slight weird twist on something that you already know, so it ends up being something different, and it ends up being better than most of the movies that we get today. So the next time he comes out with something, I know I'll be watching it in a heartbeat. Another movie that I watched, which I did a small video on, kind of like a parody type video, was Late Night with the Devil. And Late Night with the Devil was another one of those movies that when I sat down, I enjoyed it. I liked the 70s aspect, the talk show. It was a lot of fun. I kind of did my own spin on that, doing some stand-up jokes on things that are happening nowadays, and then interviewing the main demon, Mr. Wriggles. But the whole overall movie, like, there's no boring part in that movie. It's not very long, but it's just a fun film. And it was good all the way up until like the very ending of it. Kind of, I was like, okay, I get what you're doing here, but I kind of wish it would have just dotted on the I and just left it there, so it was kind of all ambiguous in your head to kind of figure out. I wish it went that direction, but nowadays movies have to explain a lot of stuff because people prefer that. So I get it, and it didn't ruin it. It was just one of those things that like it led you there, so it didn't have to tell you, but it did. But overall, that was a very good movie as well. Now, like I said, in my venture of trying to find stuff for you guys to watch as well, I did come across some movies that were not as good. And the first one is a movie that, for me, it's not made for me. And a lot of people love this movie. And I've tried watching it in the past, and it's just boring for me. So I finally made my way through it all the way. And that is The Witch, or The Witch, as some people like to call it. And it's not like it's a terrible movie. It's a period piece, and it's shot very well. The story is fairly straightforward, but it's just one of those movies that like there's not a ton going on in a lot of it. So therefore, it kind of took me a while to get through it just to draw my attention, because I was trying to find a good witch movie for you guys. Which, by the way, is a lot freaking harder than you would imagine to try to find a good witch movie that you haven't heard of. Because the very few good witch movies that they are out there, you know all of them. So, and this was one of them that I was thinking I could probably suggest this, but it's very well known. I also watched a movie called Witches in the Woods. It was okay. It had a nice snow aesthetic. They kind of get stuck in the woods. The kills are there. There's some good ones. There's some shitty ones in a sense. The acting in it is okay. It's nothing spectacular. It's nothing terrible. But it just, it wasn't like a movie I would recommend as like a hidden gem. Like if I was giving it a scale out of like 1 to 5, I'd have said it might be like a 2, 2.5. So it's not anything to write home about. So it wasn't a movie I wanted to really send to you guys as something to watch. I did get on a small kick where I finally watched the movie Aquaslash, which I believe is on Amazon Prime, which is fairly bad acting for a movie to have a bunch of teenagers at a water park. And most of the time they're in bikinis or nude and everything else. It's kind of an excuse to have teenagers dancing and naked like we used to see in the 80s all the time. But it's a newer movie. But I will give it credit for this if you have not seen it. It is an hour and 10-minute movie. It does not take that long to get through it, even though I did look at the time because there wasn't enough happening. But when the main part of this movie that finally does take place and starts happening, that is an insanely awesome kill sequence. It's one of the best that I've seen in a very long time. It's fun. It's all done with practical effects. Everything looks good, and even though like you know what's gonna happen because they just keep foreshadowing it the whole time to the point where it's like, I wonder if they're actually gonna do this or if they're just trying to build up and they never show you anything at all. But they do show you it, and it is an awesome kill. And if you have not seen the movie and you don't care to sit through the entire thing, I would say it's probably in the last 20-25 minutes. So you could skip through the whole entire movie just to see this kill. Because the kill is one of those, like, all-timer kills that you're going to remember. Like when we first watched Terrifier and you watched him saw the girl in half. Insane, crazy, something you didn't expect to see on TV. And it sticks with you. It's one of those type of kills. So it is very, very good. And then I have the video that just came out on the best movie that you haven't seen with all these damn weird actors, alien type movie. And I told you my thoughts on that. Other than that, I did catch some other ones. They're not all ringing a bell. I'll be honest. I probably should do a better job writing these down so I can tell you what ones to avoid, because I do see a lot of garbage in my free time. But if you take anything from this video, speak no evil. When evil lurks. If you like period pieces, you can watch The Witch. Check out Aquaslash just for that kill. That is everything that I watched in the month of April. Until the next one, guys, rest in peace.